This is the podcast where people who have defied expectations and embraced their unique paths to success tell their stories. If you care about traditional old-fashioned values and want to achieve modern success, you come to the right place. Welcome to the Unconventional Podcast, where traditional is unconventional. Here's your host, Eric Bonilla.
Hey, it's Eric Bonilla, host of the Unconventional Podcast, where traditional is unconventional. So hey, let's jump right into this. Today, we are diving into a topic that resonates deeply with a lot of us, and that is doubt. If you've ever questioned your faith, wondered about God's plans, or felt uncertain during challenging times, you're not alone. Doubt is a part of the human experience, and today we're going to explore how we can navigate these feelings and even let them strengthen our faith. All right, let's start with a super powerful story from the Bible that illustrates this struggle with doubt. In Mark chapter 9, verses 24, we encounter a desperate father whose son is possessed by an evil spirit. The boy often falls into seizures, and the father has brought him to the disciples, but they weren't able to help him. Frustrated and desperate, the father turns to Jesus, saying, "If you can do anything, take pity on us and help us." Jesus responds, "If you can, everything is possible for one who believes." The father immediately cries out, "I do believe. Help me overcome my unbelief." This moment is profound. Here we have a father who genuinely wants to believe, but he's grappling with doubt. He recognizes his mixed feelings and asks Jesus for help. It's a great example of how doubt can coexist with faith. It's okay to feel uncertain. It doesn't disqualify you from believing. So right now, let's talk about what doubt really is, and let's define doubt. Well, first, doubt can manifest in various ways: intellectual, spiritual, emotional. It's essential to differentiate between doubt and disbelief. Doubt can prompt us to ask questions, seek deeper truth, and ultimately grow in our faith. Many of us face doubt, especially during difficult times. Whether it's a personal crisis, a tragedy, or even just everyday life stresses, it's easy to question God's presence. In Psalm 73, the psalmist expresses his struggle with doubt as he observes the prosperity of the wicked while the righteous suffer. He writes, "Surely in vain I have kept my heart pure. In vain I have washed my hands of innocence." The psalmist that's often attributed to this, by the way, is Asaph. He's a Levite, singer, poet, prophet, and worship leader during the reigns of David and Solomon. And he expresses his frustration and confusion over the apparent prosperity of the wicked and the suffering of the righteous. He observes that the arrogant seem to thrive, while those who strive to be faithful to God face hardships. He feels envious of the seemingly carefree lives of those who do wrong, and this observation leads him to a crisis of faith. So the turning point occurs when the psalmist enters the sanctuary of God. This act symbolizes coming into God's presence, seeking clarity, and a deeper understanding of his ways. So the verse says, till I entered the sanctuary of God, then I understood their final destiny. This moment signifies a shift from human observation to divine revelation. So upon entering the sanctuary, the psalmist begins to understand that the apparent success of the wicked is temporary. He realizes that they will ultimately face judgment and destruction. This new perspective allows him to see beyond the immediate circumstances and recognize the eternal consequences of one's life choices. So the verse says, surely you place them on slippery ground. You cast them down to ruin. How suddenly are they destroyed, completely swept away by terror. Psalm 73, verses 18 and 19. The psalmist reflects on his own spiritual journey and the struggles he faced. He acknowledges that he almost lost his faith due to envy, confusion, but recognizes that his faithfulness to God has greater significance than temporary suffering. So the verse says, when my heart was grieved and my spirit embittered, I was senseless and ignorant. I was a brute beast before you. Psalm chapter 73, verses 21 and 22. After gaining this understanding, the psalmist expresses his renewed sense of closeness to God. He acknowledges that God is always with him, providing guidance and strength. The verse says, yet I am always with you. You hold me by my right hand. You guide me with your counsel, and afterward you will take me into glory. Psalm 73, verses 23 and 24. The psalmist concludes with a powerful affirmation of faith, realizing that his ultimate satisfaction and hope are found in God alone. He recognizes that earthly pursuits and the prosperity of the wicked pale in comparison to the joy and security of leading a relationship with God. The verse says, whom have I in heaven but you? And earth has nothing I desire besides you. Psalm 73, verse 25. To wrap that up, after entering the sanctuary of God, the psalmist's perspective shifts dramatically. He moves from doubt and envy to understanding the transient nature of the wicked's prosperity and the eternal significance of faithfulness to God. This experience restores his relationship with God and reaffirms his commitment to trust in God's ultimate justice and guidance. The transformation from doubt to faith illustrates the importance of seeking God's presence when grappling with uncertainty and confusion. Yes. Now let's check out some common causes of doubt. Many people experience doubt due to personal struggles, loss, trauma, or major life changes can shake our faith foundations. When life throws challenges our way, it's easy to feel abandoned or question God's goodness. Well, let's talk about intellectual doubt. In a world filled with information, scientific discoveries, and philosophical questions, it's natural to wrestle with our beliefs. Many great thinkers, including C.S. Lewis, have openly discussed their struggles with doubt. In his book, A Grief Observed, provides profound exploration of doubt, faith, and the human experience of grief following the loss of his beloved wife, Joy Davidman. This work is particularly relevant to the theme of overcoming doubt in faith, as it illustrates the intense struggle between belief and skepticism during times of profound personal suffering. Lewis wrote A Grief Observed after the death of his wife in 1960. The book is a collection of reflections that document his raw, unfiltered thoughts and emotions as he navigates the depths of his grief. Initially published under a pseudonym N.W. Clerk, Lewis intended to keep his personal reflections private, but later recognized the universal relevance of grief and doubt in the human experience. Lewis describes grief as a disorienting experience that can shake one's faith and understanding of God. He portrays grief not just as a sadness, but as a profound existential challenge that can lead to questioning previously held beliefs. Throughout the book, Lewis grapples with doubt about God's goodness and presence. He candidly expresses feelings of abandonment, confusion, and anger. For example, he questions why God would allow such suffering and whether God is truly present in moments of pain. Lewis reflects on how grief can prompt a search for deeper meaning in life and faith. He recognizes that his understanding of love, God, and existence is being reshaped by his experiences. A significant aspect of Lewis's struggle is the sense of God's silence in his suffering. How many of you experienced that? He writes about the feeling of God being distant during his pain, paralleling the psalmist's experience in Psalm 73, where the psalmist initially feels abandoned and confused. Both the psalmist and Lewis show that doubt can lead to deeper understanding and a more profound relationship with God. Another critical aspect of Lewis's journey is the importance of community and support during grief. He found solace not only in memories of joy but also in the support of friends. I encourage you to share your doubts and struggles with someone you trust, a friend, a family member, or a faith community. Isolation can amplify doubt. It's crucial to surround yourself with a supportive community. Find people who can listen, encourage, and share their own experiences. Hebrews chapter 10, verse 24-25 reminds us, and let us consider how we may spur one another on toward love and good deeds, not giving up meeting together. Sharing your doubts can lead to encouragement and growth. Immerse yourself in the Word of God. The Bible is filled with stories of those who doubted yet found their way back to faith. James chapter 1 verse 5 invites us to ask God for wisdom without doubting. Create a habit of daily devotion where you focus on verses that speak directly to your heart's struggles. Don't shy away from bringing your doubts to God. Prayer is a conversation, and it's okay to express uncertainty. Philippians chapter 4 verses 6 and 7 encourages us, don't be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition with thanksgiving, present your request to God. This is an invitation to be open and honest with God. Lewis's reflections illustrate that encountering God in moments of suffering can lead to transformation. He eventually comes to terms with his grief and recognizes that while suffering is painful, it also deepens his understanding of love, faith, and God's presence. This can parallel the psalmist's journey in Psalm 73, where entering the sanctuary leads to a renewed understanding of God's justice and love. At the end of A Grief Observed, Lewis reaffirms his faith despite the pain. He writes about love as a powerful force that transcends grief, echoing the psalmist's conclusion in Psalm 73 about the ultimate satisfaction found in God alone. As we wrap up this episode, let's take a moment to reflect on the journey of doubt and faith. C.S. Lewis's A Grief Observed teaches us that doubt does not have to be a dead end. Instead, it can be a pathway to a richer, more authentic relationship with God. Just as Lewis found hope amidst his sorrow, you can embrace your doubts and seek souls in God's presence. Remember, it's okay to question, to feel lost, and to seek answers. You are not alone in this journey. I encourage you to engage with your feelings, share your struggles with others, and allow your experiences to deepen your faith. If you're wrestling with doubts, I invite you to reach out, and whether it's to a trusted friend or through a faith community. If today's episode resonated with you, please share it with someone who might need encouragement All right. So again, I hope this helps, and God bless, and thanks for watching.
Your journey to achievement doesn't stop here. Jump on a 10-minute strategy call with Eric Bonilla by DMing at Eric Bonilla Fitness. We'll see you next time on the Unconventional Podcast.